Most people believe improving English takes years, endless classes, heavy textbooks, and complicated grammar rules. But what if I told you that the real reason your English isn't improving fast has nothing to do with your intelligence, and everything to do with the way your brain has been trained since childhood? Today, we're not just learning English, we're upgrading the operating system inside your mind. And once you understand how your brain actually absorbs a language, fluency stops being a dream and becomes something shockingly achievable. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact science, psychology, and strategies that turn slow learners into fast, confident speakers. You don't need big vocabulary lists. You don't need a foreign accent. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country. You need the right methods that work with your brain, not against it. And once you start applying them, your English improves faster than you ever believed possible. So if you've been struggling with speaking, hesitating while talking, forgetting words, or feeling stuck at the same level, stay with me. Because today, we're going to flip everything you thought you knew about English learning. This is not another motivational speech, not another 10 tips video. This is a practical, logical, science-backed roadmap that will completely transform your fluency from the inside out. Welcome to English Shock, where we don't learn English slowly, we learn it smartly, logically, and ridiculously fast. The real reason your English isn't improving fast, and why it's not your fault. Most people think their English is weak because they're not smart enough, or because English is just hard. But that's straight up false. Your brain is literally built to learn languages. It's the most natural skill humans have. The real problem? You're using a broken learning system. Since childhood, you were trained to learn English like a school subject, not like a skill. And that creates a massive gap between knowing English and actually using English. That's the gap we're going to destroy today. The biggest reason your English isn't improving fast is that you're stuck in passive learning. You watch English videos, you read English quotes, you listen to English music, but you rarely speak or produce English. Think of it like going to the gym and watching other people lift weights, but never touching the dumbbell yourself. No matter how motivational the gym looks, your muscles won't grow. Your English works on the same principle: input builds understanding, but output builds fluency. There's another hidden trap: perfection pressure. You hesitate to speak because you think your grammar isn't perfect, your accent isn't polished, or your vocabulary isn't fancy enough. But here's the truth: nobody becomes fluent by waiting for perfection. Fluency comes from mistakes, not from avoiding them. Every child on earth speaks their mother tongue fluently without ever learning grammar first. Why? Because they focus on expression, not correctness. If kids can do it without fear, adults can do it with logic. Now let's break one of the biggest myths. I need more vocabulary before I can speak. Nope. You need the right vocabulary, not more. Most daily conversations use only 1,000 to 1,200 words. That means you already understand enough to speak, but your brain isn't trained to react fast. The training problem is the real villain, not vocabulary. Before we move forward, I want to reset your mindset. You're not learning English. You're building a new operating system in your brain. And every system upgrade starts slow, then suddenly jumps. Today's lesson isn't about one shortcut. It's about creating a system that accelerates your English learning like crazy. A system where improvements become natural, fast, and unstoppable. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your English was slow till now, how to unlock rapid improvement, and what daily actions will shock your brain into learning English faster than ever. The science behind fast English learning. How your brain actually picks up a language. If you want to improve English insanely fast, you first need to understand how your brain learns a language. Not the school version, not the textbook version, the biological, scientific truth. And here's the wild part. Your brain doesn't learn English through rules, it learns English through patterns. Every time you hear a sentence, your brain quietly analyzes the rhythm, structure, tone, and context. It absorbs patterns long before it understands grammar. That's why babies learn effortlessly. They grow up inside a pattern-rich environment. Your brain has something called neural pathways. Think of them like highways. Every time you use English, even a little bit, you build a new pathway or strengthen an old one. If you barely speak English, the pathways stay weak. If you speak actively, even with mistakes, the pathways get stronger and faster. That's why consistent exposure beats complicated grammar books. But here's the twist: random exposure doesn't work well. Your brain needs active engagement, not passive absorption. Most learners binge watch English content without interacting with it. That doesn't create fluency, it only creates familiarity. To improve fast, your brain needs friction. It needs moments where you struggle for the right word, moments where you build a sentence under pressure, moments where you correct yourself. That struggle is not a weakness, it is literally the signal your brain uses to grow faster. Struggle equals growth. No struggle equals stagnation. Now, let's talk about memory. Your brain deletes unused information aggressively. If you learn a new word today but don't use it within 24 hours, 70% of that memory fades. By day 3, 90% is gone. This is exactly why English feels slow, not because the language is difficult, but because your system of retention is broken. To improve fast, you must switch from learn and forget to learn and use. The moment you apply a new word in a sentence, even once, your brain treats it as important and keeps it longer. Here's another science-backed truth. Speaking triggers more brain activity than reading or listening combined. When you speak, your brain handles vocabulary recall, grammar prediction, pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence, all at once. It's like a full workout. That's why people who practice speaking daily grow exponentially faster than those who don't. Even 5 minutes of speaking beats 1 hour of silent learning. And let's not ignore psychology. Confidence impacts learning speed more than intelligence. The more relaxed your brain is, the faster it absorbs patterns. That's why practicing alone, in a safe and private environment, works incredibly well. You eliminate the fear of judgment, and your brain opens up. Taking pressure away increases speed. Once you understand these principles, patterns, pathways, active engagement, memory retention, and psychological safety, your entire approach to English changes. You stop relying on hacks and start using science. This is how people jump levels in months, not years. The fastest way to start speaking English daily, even if you have no one to talk to. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Fluency doesn't come from talking with people, it comes from talking at all. Your brain doesn't care whether you're speaking to a friend, a mirror, or even an empty room. What matters is activation. When you force your brain to form sentences in real time, you unlock a speed boost that no grammar book can give you. So the fastest technique to improve English isn't complicated at all. It's called solo speaking practice. Most fluent speakers you see online, they didn't build fluency by chatting with strangers every day. They built it alone, in their rooms, practicing sentences, imagining situations, and narrating their thoughts out loud. This is the most underrated, scientifically powerful method for fast improvement. Here's how it works. Pick anything around you, your phone, your chair, your day, your plans, and start describing it in English. Don't think too much. Don't plan sentences. Just speak. When your brain gets pushed to express something instantly, it becomes faster at retrieving words. Over time, it starts connecting ideas without hesitation. That's fluency. Most learners avoid speaking because they feel awkward. But awkwardness disappears in 3 to 4 days if you consistently do it. Your brain normalizes it, and something powerful happens. English stops feeling like a foreign language and starts feeling like a default mode. You're essentially rewiring your mental environment. Another insanely powerful technique is think in English. And no, this doesn't mean thinking in perfect sentences. It means thinking in fragments, reactions, keywords. Like, okay, I need to go. This is easy. Let me check. Tiny thoughts, but in English. When your inner voice shifts languages, your outer voice naturally follows. Now, let's talk about why this works so fast. When you speak or think in English, your brain is forced to create shortcuts. Instead of translating from your native language, it starts operating directly in English. Translation is slow. Direct thinking is lightning fast. That's why people who practice this method daily jump from broken English to smooth flow much quicker than traditional learners. Here's a bonus trick: audio shadowing. Pick a short English clip, play a few seconds, pause, and mimic the speaker's tone and speed. You'll sound weird at first, but your brain loves copying patterns. Shadowing improves accent, rhythm, confidence, and sentence flow simultaneously. This one technique alone can skyrocket fluency in weeks. You don't need a conversation partner. You don't need perfect grammar. You only need a daily habit of producing English, out loud or in your mind, and your brain will adapt at shocking speed. By using these methods together, you'll create a powerful loop of consistent practice, fast recall, and natural fluency. You're no longer waiting for someone to talk to. You become your own trainer, and that's exactly how you improve English faster than most learners ever will. How to build vocabulary ultra fast, without memorizing hundreds of words. Let's be real, memorizing vocabulary is the biggest scam in traditional English learning. People force themselves to learn 20 to 30 random words daily, and by next week, 90% of them evaporate. That's not a memory problem. That's a method problem. Your brain doesn't store words in isolation. It stores words in contexts. That's why you remember memes, lyrics, movie dialogues, and emotional moments so easily. They come with context attached. So the fastest way to build vocabulary isn't by brute force memorization. It's by attaching new words to real situations. For example, instead of memorizing the word reluctant, embed it into your day like, I was reluctant to wake up today. When the word belongs to your story, your brain keeps it permanently. Vocabulary isn't about learning words, it's about giving those words a home in your daily life. Another powerful method is cluster learning. Your brain loves patterns, so instead of learning one word, learn a group of connected words. For example, instead of learning improve, you learn improve, improvement, improving, improved, boom, one pattern, 4 words. Your brain processes it as one idea with variations. This multiplies your vocabulary with minimal effort. Also, stop chasing big fancy words, thinking they'll make you fluent. They won't. You don't need Shakespeare-level vocabulary. You need functional vocabulary, words that help you express yourself smoothly. Fluency comes from clarity, not complexity. Native speakers use surprisingly simple words most of the time. What makes them sound fluent is the combination, not the difficulty. Another trick: learn opposites. If you learn rare, immediately learn common. If you learn complicated, also learn simple. Opposites lock each other in memory because your brain loves contrast. It's easier to remember black when you know white. Now let's break a big fear: forgetting words is normal. Your brain forgets unused information to stay efficient. So instead of trying to never forget, your goal should be to repeat naturally. The best way? Use the new word at least 3 times within 24 hours. Not in a notebook, in real sentences. Speak it aloud, write it in a message, think it in your mind. 3 uses equals long-term memory. Here's another ultra-fast technique: active reading. When you read something in English, even a short article, don't highlight every difficult word. Pick only the words that keep repeating. The words that appear often are the ones worth learning because they actually shape your fluency. Finally, the most underrated method of all, example stacking. Whenever you learn a new word, create 3 short example sentences on your own. This forces your brain to interact with the word instead of passively looking at it. It builds recall speed and confidence. All these methods build vocabulary naturally, logically, and fast, without burnout or memorization torture. When you learn words the way your brain prefers, your progress becomes shockingly fast and more permanent. Mastering grammar without studying grammar, the smart, fast, Gen Z way. Here's the truth nobody was honest about. Grammar is not something you memorize. It's something your brain absorbs through patterns. You don't become fluent by learning rules. You become fluent by recognizing structures. That's exactly why native speakers break grammar rules all the time yet still communicate effortlessly. Their brain is wired to feel grammar, not recall it. But here's where most learners mess up. They approach grammar like a math subject. They try to memorize tenses, formulas, rules, charts, and then freeze when they try to speak. Because when you're speaking, your brain doesn't have time to calculate rules. You need automatic flow, not textbook accuracy. And automatic flow comes from exposure plus usage, not memorization. So how do you master grammar fast without drowning in rules? Simple. Learn grammar through sentence templates, not definitions. For example, instead of memorizing, present continuous equals am, is, are plus verb plus ing, train your brain with patterns like, I am working. I am learning English. I am improving. I am trying. I am thinking. Your brain catches the rhythm, not the rule. When rhythm becomes familiar, the rule becomes automatic. This is how fluent speakers operate, they follow patterns subconsciously. Another powerful hack: shadow grammatically correct speakers. When you mimic someone with good grammar, through audio shadowing or repetition, your brain copies their structure naturally. You don't even need explanations. Kids learn grammar without a single grammar class. How? They copy patterns. You just need to repeat the same technique consciously. Now let's talk about the grammar fear. What if I make mistakes? Mistakes are the literal fuel of fluency. They're not proof of weakness, they're proof of growth. You can't refine something you never attempt. Fluency is built on messy, imperfect attempts. The more you speak, the faster your grammar corrects itself. Your brain automatically fixes patterns over time. Here's a genius trick: micro corrections. When you catch yourself making a mistake, don't panic. Just repeat the correct sentence once more. Example: I goed yesterday. Wait, I went yesterday. That tiny correction trains the brain instantly. No big lecture, no memorizing rules, just practical adjustments. Another key: prioritize usable grammar, not everything. You don't need to master all 12 tenses. You only need to master present simple, present continuous, past simple, future simple. These 4 structures cover 80% of daily communication. Once these feel natural, your fluency skyrockets. The rest of the grammar becomes easier automatically. Also, avoid grammar overthinking. If you stop yourself mid-sentence to check whether your grammar is correct, your brain slips back into textbook mode and your fluency breaks. Let your sentences flow. Fix later. Improvement happens through practice, not perfection. Finally, remember this: fluent speakers don't speak correctly, they speak confidently. And confidence makes your English sound instantly better, even with small mistakes. When grammar becomes a tool instead of a fear, your fluency accelerates faster than you imagined. Build a powerful English environment. Even if no one around you speaks English. If you want to improve English fast, your environment has to support your growth. But here's the catch: most learners live in places where nobody speaks English, so they think their progress is limited. That's a lie. You don't need an English-speaking country. You need an English-speaking ecosystem, and you can build that entirely by yourself. Your environment isn't your city, your friends, or your home. Your environment is whatever your brain consumes daily. If your phone, your content, your conversations, and your thoughts shift toward English, you become fluent regardless of where you live. Fluency is about mental surroundings, not physical surroundings. The first step is change your digital environment. Your phone is the one thing you interact with the most. So switch your device language to English. Not because it's aesthetic, but because it forces your brain to interact with English subconsciously. Every notification, every setting, every app becomes a mini learning moment. You're soaking English without effort. Next, upgrade your content diet. Stop watching random English videos that don't force your brain to think. Start consuming content that challenges your comprehension: podcasts, interviews, story-driven videos, educational channels. Even if you understand 60%, it's enough to train your ear. Growth happens in that 40% gap where your brain is trying to decode meaning. Now let's talk about the secret weapon: create micro-English zones. Pick specific parts of your day where English becomes mandatory. For example, mornings, think in English. Evenings, speak for 5 minutes alone. Night, read 1 page of English. These microzones accumulate into massive progress because consistency beats intensity every time. Another powerful method is surrounding yourself with English words physically. Label objects in your room. Stick notes. Write reminders. Make your environment visually English. It sounds silly, but your brain absorbs word-object connections visually and emotionally. This builds vocabulary faster than flashcards ever will. Now here comes a game-changing technique: English immersion without English speakers. All you do is narrate your life in English. Walking to the kitchen? Describe it. Making tea? Explain the steps. Going out? Narrate what you see. You literally become the narrator of your daily movie. This gives your brain constant practice and eliminates the need for a partner. Finally, let's talk about mental environment. Your inner voice must shift to English gradually. Even if it's broken, even if it's simple, that shift is the spark that changes everything. When your mind starts processing thoughts in English, fluency becomes natural. It's like switching the operating system of your brain, slow at first, but incredibly powerful. By building this kind of environment, you stop waiting for ideal conditions. You create your own, and people who create their own environment always improve faster than those who wait for the perfect moment, the perfect teacher, or the perfect country. Master pronunciation without forcing an accent. Speak clearly, not artificially. A lot of learners think good English means a foreign accent. But that mindset slows your progress massively. The goal is clarity, not copying someone else's tongue. You don't need a British or American accent to speak confidently. You just need pronunciation that's clean, audible, and natural. And here's the fun part: improving pronunciation is way easier than people think. The first thing you need to understand is that pronunciation is not about sounding fancy, it's about sound placement. Every language uses different muscle groups in the mouth. If your English sounds unclear, it's not because you're bad at speaking, it's because your mouth muscles aren't trained yet. Just like working out, you build these muscles through repetition. The most powerful tool for pronunciation improvement is shadowing. You hear a sentence, pause, and repeat it exactly the way the speaker said it. Same speed, same emotion, same rhythm. You're not memorizing the sentence, you're training your mouth. Do this for 5 minutes daily, and in 2 weeks, you'll feel the difference instantly. Your tone smoothens, your speech becomes more fluid, and your confidence goes up dramatically. Now let's talk about stress and rhythm. English isn't spoken in a flat tone. Some words get more stress, some less. This rhythm is called intonation, and understanding it is the real key to sounding natural. For example, I didn't say he stole it. I didn't say he stole it. I didn't say he stole it. Same sentence, 3 meanings, all because of stress. Once you start noticing these patterns in movies or podcasts, your brain automatically copies them. Another big mistake learners make is trying to pronounce every word perfectly. That's not how English works. Native speakers blend words together, it's called connected speech. For example, want to becomes wanna. Going to becomes gonna. Let me becomes lemme. Understanding these helps you speak more naturally without forcing it. Here's a super practical hack: record yourself. Speak for 1 minute, record it, and listen. You'll instantly notice your weak points: unclear words, breaks, fast pace, flat tone. This gives you data, not assumptions. Improvement becomes targeted and fast. Another trick: learn pronunciation through examples, not the alphabet. For instance, the th sound in think and this is one of the hardest for learners. But once you learn 1 or 2 examples, your brain maps the sound pattern. You don't need thousands of words to practice, just a few strong reference points. Also remember, don't force an accent. If you try to sound like a Hollywood actor on day 1, you'll burn out. Let accent evolve naturally over months. Focus on clarity, speed control, and smooth flow. A clean, natural voice always beats a fake accent. Finally, confidence plays a huge role in pronunciation. When you speak afraid, your voice automatically becomes small and unclear. But when you speak with confidence, even simple English sounds powerful. The brain follows the emotion of your voice. If you sound strong, your English becomes strong. Daily habits that skyrocket your English in weeks. Simple, practical, and fast. If you truly want to improve English fast, your daily habits matter more than any class, teacher, or course. Fluency isn't built in one big moment, it's built in small, consistent actions that compound over time. When your habits are aligned with how your brain learns, improvement becomes automatic, not forced. And the best part? These habits take very little time but deliver massive results. The first habit, 5 minutes of solo speaking. This alone can transform your fluency. Stand in front of a mirror or sit on your bed and talk about your day, your plans, your thoughts, anything. Don't prepare. Don't rehearse. Just speak. This activates your brain's language centers immediately and forces fluency to develop naturally. 5 minutes a day is more powerful than 1 hour once a week. The second habit, English input before sleep. Your brain consolidates memories during sleep. So if you watch or listen to English for even 10 to 15 minutes before going to bed, your brain processes those patterns overnight. This silently improves your comprehension and vocabulary without you even realizing it. Nighttime input is like giving your brain a shortcut. Third habit, learn just 3 words a day. Not 10, not 20, just 3. 3 words you will actually use. Create 3 sentences for each one. Use them once in your day. That's it. Slow and steady builds a huge vocabulary over time, without burnout or forgetting everything. Fourth habit, read 1 page every day. You don't need novels. You don't need difficult books. 1 page from anything, a blog, an article, a story, a biography, is enough. Reading builds grammar, vocabulary, and sentence sense subconsciously. 1 page a day equals 30 pages a month. That's a full chapter of growth with barely any effort. Fifth habit, listen to something hard. Choose 1 piece of English audio that feels slightly difficult. Not impossible, just challenging. Your brain loves solving puzzles. When it works harder to understand something, learning accelerates. This is called stretch learning. It's the fastest comprehension booster. Sixth habit, think in English at transition moments. Whenever you're switching tasks, waking up, walking somewhere, waiting for something, spend that short time thinking in English. These micro moments add up massively. Instead of letting your mind wander, direct your inner voice. This habit rewires your brain internally, and that's where real fluency starts. Seventh habit, replace one native activity with an English one. For example, replace a native language YouTube video with an English one. Replace a native language song with an English song. Replace social media captions with English. This creates an English-first environment without extra effort. Eighth habit, weekly self-test. Record a 1-minute English video every Sunday. Keep them private. Compare them month to month. Seeing your voice change, seeing your fluency grow, that hits differently. It builds confidence and gives you real proof of your progress. These habits work because they align with how your brain naturally learns, small, repeated hits of engagement. Consistency beats intensity every time. When these habits become automatic, your fluency doesn't just improve, it accelerates. The mindset shifts that unlock fast, fearless English learning. Before you master English on the outside, you need to fix what's happening on the inside. Most people don't struggle with English because of skill. They struggle because of mindset errors. Fear, hesitation, perfectionism, comparison. These things slow your progress more than lack of vocabulary ever will. If you want to improve fast, your mindset has to be optimized for growth, not fear. The first mindset shift: English is a skill, not an identity. A lot of people tie their self-worth to their English level. If they speak well, they feel smart. If they struggle, they feel dumb. That's pure nonsense. English is just a tool, like driving or typing. You don't feel ashamed when you're learning to drive, right? You don't feel embarrassed when you're slow at typing. So why feel ashamed when speaking English? Remove identity from the equation. The moment you detach ego from learning, you grow faster. The second mindset shift: making mistakes is a sign of progress, not failure. Every mistake is proof that you're practicing. Fluency is built on thousands of small errors you correct subconsciously. The more mistakes you make, the quicker your brain adapts. But if you avoid speaking to avoid mistakes, you literally pause your growth. Mistakes aren't the enemy, Fear is. The third mindset shift. Stop comparing your English to others. Everyone has a different background, different exposure, different starting point. Comparing yourself to someone who has watched English cartoons since childhood is pointless. Compare yourself only to your past self. Are you better than last month? Last year? That's all that matters. Improvement is a personal journey, not a race. The fourth mindset shift. Confidence first, accuracy later. Most people do the opposite, they try to speak perfectly, and because perfect is impossible, they get stuck. Instead, speak confidently even if your grammar is messy. Confidence makes your voice clear, your speed steady, your presence strong. Accuracy improves naturally with usage. Confidence accelerates accuracy, not the other way around. The fifth mindset shift. Your English will improve in jumps, not in a straight line. You'll have days where you feel unstoppable, speaking fast, understanding everything. And then suddenly, you'll have a day where everything feels slow and confusing. That's normal. That's how learning curves work. That dip is actually a sign that your brain is reorganizing itself for a higher level. Never quit during a dip. That's exactly where the breakthrough is forming. The sixth mindset shift. Your English doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful. Even native speakers make mistakes, forget words, pause, restart sentences. The goal is not perfection, the goal is clarity, expression, and confidence. Your English becomes powerful when you use it without fear, not when you speak like a textbook. And the seventh mindset shift. Your brain loves consistency more than intensity. 1 hour of English practice once a week is nothing compared to 10 minutes every day. Daily English, even a little, creates a sense of familiarity. Your brain starts treating English as normal, not foreign. That's when fluency becomes easier, faster, and smoother. Transform these mindset shifts into your reality, and your learning speed will jump to a completely new level. English will stop feeling like a challenge and start feeling like a natural extension of your day. Your ultimate action plan to improve English fast. Clear, practical, and guaranteed to work. Now that you understand the science, the habits, the psychology, and the techniques, it's time to bring everything together into a single, powerful action plan. This is the blueprint that will accelerate your English faster than anything you've tried before. No confusion, no randomness. Just a simple, structured routine that upgrades your fluency every single day. The first pillar of your action plan is daily output. You cannot become fluent without using English actively. So every day, you'll speak for 5 minutes, solo speaking, mirror speaking, or narrating your life. This builds fluency, confidence, and speed. No excuses. Consistency here makes the biggest difference. The second pillar is focused input. You need to feed your brain English that challenges it just enough. Pick one podcast, one YouTube channel, or one audiobook and listen for 10 to 15 minutes a day. This builds comprehension, natural rhythm, and subconscious grammar sense. Don't switch content too often. Let your brain adapt to one voice at a time. The third pillar is vocabulary smart building. Instead of chasing hundreds of words, learn just 3 useful words a day and make personal sentences with them. This builds retention, not confusion. These tiny, daily additions compound into massive vocab growth in a few months. The fourth pillar is daily reading. 1 page a day, simple, manageable, and effective. Reading gives you grammar, new structures, and vocabulary in context. You understand how sentences actually work in the real world, not in rules. The fifth pillar is thinking in English. This is the hidden engine of fluency. Every time your mind is free, walking, eating, traveling, shift your inner voice to English. Don't form perfect sentences. Just think in fragments. This rewires your brain from the inside. The sixth pillar is pronunciation training. 5 minutes of shadowing a day is enough. Pick a clip, mimic the tone, rhythm, and speed. This improves your voice, your clarity, and your presence. You don't become fluent only by speaking. You become fluent by sounding confident when you speak. The seventh pillar is weekly progress tracking. Record a 1-minute video every Sunday. Don't skip this. These recordings are your mirror. They show change you don't notice daily. When you look back after 1 month, your growth will shock you. Nothing motivates you more than seeing your own progress. The eighth pillar is environment control. Make English appear everywhere in your life. Change your phone language. Follow English creators. Replace one piece of native content with English content every day. Your environment becomes your teacher. The ninth pillar is mindset reinforcement. Tell yourself daily, mistakes are normal. Confidence matters more than accuracy. Improvement comes from consistency. Progress happens in jumps. When your mindset is strong, your fluency becomes unstoppable. And finally, the 10th pillar, identity shift. You're not learning English. You're living English. You're building the identity of someone who uses English naturally, confidently, and daily. When your identity shifts, your habits follow effortlessly. You stop trying to speak English and start speaking it as part of your lifestyle. This entire plan takes less than an hour a day, and if you stick to it for 30 days straight, your fluency will not just improve, it will transform. You'll speak faster, think faster, understand better, and feel more confident than ever before. English will stop being a struggle and start becoming your second nature.